Hey, it's Nathan with CrazyMarketing.com. In this video, we're going to do an overview of creating and managing automations within ActiveCampaign. Now, I'm going to have some other videos on specific automations, but this is more of an overview video. So let's go ahead and get into it. So here we are in ActiveCampaign, and to get to the automations area, you just come over to the left-hand side and click on automations. And now we're under automations, and then in order to get started creating automations, you can click on create an automation. Additionally, there are some recipes that they've already created, and some of them are kind of useful, so I do recommend looking through them, like a 7-day drip series, contact last engaged date. This is a good one to have. Moving a contact when a task is completed, so that could be useful. Tagging based on custom fields, and so on. So a couple automation recipes that might be worth checking out. But anyway, let's go ahead and create an automation real quick and just go through some of the steps. So we can of course create one from scratch, which is typically what I go ahead and do. Additionally, you can import automation. So if you have a link to an automation, you could go ahead and import it here. But then they have a whole bunch of other templates that you could go ahead and look through, like site tracking, abandoned cart, upgrade incentive and outreach, accessory upsell, forward a campaign incentive, and a whole bunch of different options. And I very rarely use them, but if you're hurting for ideas or not sure like the capabilities of ActiveCampaign, it can be worth checking out some of these different recipes. But we'll go ahead and do start from scratch and continue. So an automation starts when something is triggered, and there's a whole bunch of different triggers, like someone subscribes to a list or unsubscribes or submits a form or opens or reads an email, or a tag is added, event recorded, replies to an email, enters a pipeline, score changes, and so on. So a whole bunch of different triggers for starting these different automations off. And you can also see that there's different categories for the triggers as well. So we have behaviors and actions, e-commerce, email and messages, sales and CRM, web properties, and then there's apps as well. And as you can see, ActiveCampaign integrates with these apps right here. So a whole plethora of different ways to trigger an automation. I'm just going to go ahead and do subscribes to list just to get this started. Then we get additional options like select which list. So we can select a list, and if we want it to run multiple times or just one time, so two different options right there. And we also have the option to segment the contact entering this automation. So let's say that we want to filter for people that are not buyers. So we could go ahead and search for tag and does not exist and buyer. So people that don't have the buyer tag will continue through this automation. Anybody with the buyer tag will be kicked out of the automation. So you could go ahead and segment people right upon the trigger, or you can also segment people later on using conditions and workflows. But anyway, we'll go ahead and click add start, and then we go straight into adding a new action. I'm gonna go ahead and close out of this though. And what I like to do first and foremost is go ahead and name my automation, so that way I know what it's about. And then I can click on save right here. Alrighty, so this is a pretty intuitive builder, and it's not too hard to use. Now we have our one trigger right here, and if we decide we want to go ahead and change it up, we could. Like maybe we don't want to actually segment for our non-buyers, you could go ahead and turn that off, and we can close back out of there. You can have multiple triggers as well, so if you want to do it, like if a web page is visited, then you could go ahead and have 2 triggers for this particular automation. So there may be reasons for having multiple triggers or not. Additionally, as you notice, when you hover over things, you have the option to add a note. So you can write yourself a note of like why you set this trigger up, because a few months down the line when you're looking at this automation again and you're like, what the heck was I doing or thinking? Well, these notes can really come in handy. So it's nice that they let you write notes. And of course, you can go ahead and delete things as well by clicking on the trash can. And then of course, it's just a matter of building the automation that you need. So you can go ahead and click this plus button right here, and it'll pop up the window that keeps popping up. So we can send emails, we can send a notification email, send transaction emails. There's conditions and workflows as well. So this is where you find your weight, your FL statements, which is great for segmenting people. Or you can go to different locations within your automation. There's goals, so if people take certain actions, maybe they buy something or they visit a specific page on your website, well, that might be a goal. You can start other automations, end this current automation, or end another automation. You could post to a webhook, you could perform math, a bunch of different options, and I'll have some other videos on some of these more advanced actions. There's contact actions, like you can subscribe them or unsubscribe them from other lists. You can update the contact, add tags, remove tag, add notes, add to Facebook custom audience, remove from Facebook custom audience, adjust a contact score. And then we get into CRM type stuff. So add a deal, update title, update a value, update a stage, update a deal task. Add a deal task, add a note, adjust a deal score, and so on. A whole bunch of different options. And then there's CX apps. And so these are partner apps that integrate with ActiveCampaign. And as you can see, there's a whole slew of them. So anyway, basically you go through and you can build out your automation by selecting different sending options or conditions and workflows and all that other type of stuff. So you build out your automations, and it's a pretty intuitive platform. So if you need ideas for different automations, please check out my channel. But a couple other things in here is the option to manage emails. So once you do have emails within your automation, you can click the manage emails button right here, and you'll see all the emails in your automation. So if you have some sort of crazy looking automation and it's hard to find where your emails are within your automation, you can see a nice list of them right here. You can also go ahead and test out all the emails in your automation and or edit all the senders within the automation as well. So that way, you know, everything is all the same across the entire automation. So it's nice that you can do a bulk edit like that. Additionally, if you have contacts in here, you can go ahead and view all the contacts within the automation, and I'll give you a breakdown of how many contacts are within each step of the automation and how many are receiving what emails and everything like that. Now, I don't have any details within my ActiveCampaign account, but it is a nice feature and it gives you a lot of different details. So check that out once you have people going through your automations, because it's some cool stuff to look at. And finally, you could go ahead and flip your automation to active. So definitely don't forget to do that if you're trying to get people to go through the automation. I've definitely forgot it many times before, but flip it to active before you push people through an automation. So if you need ideas for automations, please check out my channel. But let's come back out here to the automations area, because there's some other stuff I want to cover in this particular video. So come on down here. So here's all the automations that I've created already. And one thing you probably want to go ahead and do is start labeling your automations, so that way you can keep them organized. Otherwise, it can become very overwhelming, especially when you have like hundreds of automations. It's very hard to keep stuff organized. So a couple ways that I keep things organized, of course, is the naming convention. So for lead magnets, I put LM at the front. For a sales series, you know, a series that's trying to sell a product or a service, I'll put sales series in front. For purchases, so if somebody buys something, I put purchase in the front. For sending just content, I'll write the word content in the front, and then I could come over here and search automations. I can see all the different automations that I have for lead magnets and purchases and so on. So definitely have some good naming conventions for your automations, so that way you can go ahead and search for them. But additionally, you can go ahead and add labels. And usually I'll label my automations based off of what they're trying to do. So in this case, you'll notice that I have like 3 automations that are all about sales funnels. So I have purchase sales funnel book, sales series trying to sell the sales funnel book, and then I also have a lead magnet that delivers free sales funnels and ultimately tries to sell a sales funnel book. So all these kind of go together. So I'm going to select all 3 of those automations, and we'll come up here to add label, and then I'm going to go ahead and create a new label, and we'll call this sales funnels. And I can select the color I want to, so I'm going to select my Crazy Marketing orange and create. So there we go. I know all these automations right here belong to the sales funnel category, so I could go ahead and come over here to my label now and look at sales funnel, and then I could see all my automations dealing with my sales funnel stuff. And of course, I could go ahead and unfilter as well, and maybe I'll go ahead and add another label right here for Facebook ads. So we'll create a new label, Facebook ads. Now I only have 1 automation, but I'm sure I'll add more trying to sell my Facebook ad stuff. So we'll go ahead and create. And so there we go. Just trying to keep my stuff organized over here, and labels are very handy for doing that. Additionally, of course, you can come over here and you can see some different details about your automations. So you can see how many contacts are currently in the automation. You can see how many emails you have in your automation and the number of goals in the automation as well. So those are just some nice stats you can see right up front. You can come over here and click on edit if you want to edit the automation, but there's also ways to make your automation inactive or active. In this case, my automation is already active, so it's telling me I can make it inactive. This automation right here is inactive, and of course, I can make it active. You could also share automation, so maybe you create an automation for a client and you want to share it, and they can import it into their account. You can click on share, and it'll generate a link that lets you share the automation. You can copy the automation as well, which can be very handy. Like my lead magnet automations are kind of complicated, and I don't want to build them from scratch every single time. So I'll just go ahead and copy a lead magnet automation and then just update the emails and the tags and stuff within that automation, and it'll save me a bunch of time. There's also permissions. So if you have groups and users in your ActiveCampaign account, you can give them access or remove access from this particular automation. Also, you could go ahead and delete the automation as well. So some self-explanatory options right there, but stuff I wanted to point out within this video. Now, a couple other features within automations is this map, which is actually very handy, especially when you have a bunch of different automations and they're all connected together. The automations map lets you see what is connected to what. So for example, I have these 5 automations right here, and 4 of them are active, and I know they're connected some sort of way. I just can't quite remember like how I connected them. So I can just go ahead and click, like maybe I want to look at my lead magnet free sales funnel automation. I can see that it connects to my sales series for the sales funnel book right here. And I can also see some automation details as well, like how many contacts and stuff like that. So I can get some details, and then I could click on my sales series, sales funnel book automation, and I can see that it connects to my content Facebook ads automation right here. And so I can kind of work my way through the automation and see how things are connected. And it helps me put together the picture of all my different automations and how they're all connected together. So if you start feeling overwhelmed with your automations and you can't remember what's connected to what, check out the automations map, because it can be very helpful in determining, what you put and where you put it and how it's connected and all that type of stuff. And another area that's really handy in this automation section is the automation messages. So here, if you click this option, you can see all the different emails you have in your automation. So it gives you a nice breakdown. Like this automation, LM free sales funnel, has 2 messages. I can see email 1, email 2 right here. I could go ahead and edit it from here or delete it and so on. Same concept with the sales series, sales funnel book automation. I got 3 emails. I could go ahead and edit them right from here. So I don't have to click into each automation and find the email and navigate to it and edit it and all that stuff. I can do it right from here. So it helps keep things organized and makes it easier to make adjustments. Then there's also transactional emails right here, but this is more sophisticated and beyond the scope of this particular video, as it does require you to have a Postmark account. So we'll save this for another video. And then of course there's all the reports and stuff, so you can see all your automation reports. And so you can get some details here, and you can click into it if you want to and get more information and automations performance and goal overview and so on. So a few different options to click through once you have people actually in your automations clicking on things, going through, buying stuff, all that type of stuff. And I don't have that happen in my account, so there's nothing really to see, but the reports are pretty intuitive and I'm sure you can figure it out. So anyway, that's pretty much it for the automations overview. Again, I'm going to have several videos on creating different types of automations, so please check out my channel. Otherwise, hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, I appreciate it. So likes, comments, subscribes, and or check out crazymarketing.com, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.